Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist, and today I'm going to be doing some cubic test hands. I'm really excited for this deck because this deck is basically a deck that fears nothing. Being able to special summon Crimson Nova, the Dark Cubic Lord, is absolutely insane, doing the 3k burn damage, and being able to attack your opponent twice with this monster is crazy good. But before we get into this, guys, I really quickly want to give a shout out to one of my patrons, which is actually the Viper 3, or R Saber. He has a really cool, he's really cool in the Discord and actually helped out with building this deck, which is really awesome. He shared his deck list and I was kind of like, I like the way that is, and actually inspired me to increase the amount of traps I play in this deck. So without further ado, guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell on so you can become part of the notification squad, and definitely check out that Patreon down in the description below so you guys can get some awesome rewards, like getting your name in the description of every single video, getting a signed card sent to the mail, or even getting to request a deck profile just like this one every single month that you are a patron. So without further ado, let's get straight on into this. So first off, we're going to do a quick pile shuffle, guys, just to make sure that we have this deck good and shuffled up. Now this deck is a really cool deck that has a lot of weird ways of playing, because just like the deck looks, it's really weird because it has a lot of different searches, but it has a lot of weird ways to search where you have to normal summon a monster like Duza, and then get Duza to send a monster to the graveyard, and then Duza triggers to be able to special summon, or the Karma in the graveyard triggers to be able to search a card from your deck, which is pretty cool. But the deck is a little bit weird in the aspect that it does that, where it just has a long way of going about a certain combo, which is cool, but it's just kind of weird to me. But it's fun. The deck is super fun to be able to do that with, and being able to special summon this big bad is just insanely good. So let's go ahead and shuffle up the deck and see what we can draw out. So the deck card that I was actually mentioning, the trap card, I actually bumped up Cataclysm or Casualty up to 2, and I actually bumped Ascension down to 1. I actually rotated those. It was actually a suggestion by Viper, which is really, it was a good suggestion. So let's go ahead and do a quick test hand and see what we can get out of the draw test hand and see what we can get. So Wave is already good. Karma is really good. Monster Gate is another card that I've dumped in this deck that wasn't in here before. Summoner Monk, because now we're going to get Duza out on the field, and if we draw into another, there we go. Foolish Burial is really good because we're going to be able to just dump a copy of Karma to graveyard to be able to search a copy of Crimson Lord. And then we have the copy of Summoner Monk that we can summon to the field and then ditch our copy of Karma to get 2 searches off our cards. And then we have the Monster Gate to tribute the copy of Monk to be able to go off from there and then reveal cards out of the deck, which is going to get us even more pluses in this deck. This deck is absolutely insane, especially with Monster Gate. Like, I didn't realize how crazy this deck was. If you guys want to see the updated cubic deck profile, it's down in the description if you guys want to see that. But I did bump Monster Gate into this deck, which is an insane card that you guys are going to see in just a minute. So let's go ahead and do one more test hand and see what we can draw out. This isn't too bad because we have Durama, which is not bad. You can send a cubic card from your hand to the graveyard, and if you do, you draw a card. So we're going to send this to the graveyard and draw, which is going to get us a copy of Crimson Nova, which is not bad. We don't have a way to summon it, which is kind of a little bit of a brick. But that's not terrible because you still have the Durama in the hand and you can go off maybe later, but you do kind of brick there. So that was kind of a brick. That's the only problem with this deck is sometimes you don't play that many monsters, and so you do brick a little bit, but the Summoner Monks super help out with the bricking. So let's go ahead and do another draw test hand, and then we'll actually play out a test hand and show you guys how the deck actually plays out when you play. So we're going to go ahead and draw and see what we can get. So this is not bad at all because you have the copy of Foolish Burial Goods. You can just immediately dump to your graveyard your copy of Karma and get a search off, which can be another monster. You can get out a copy of your Vjom and then summon the Vjom to your side, or Duza to your side of the field, and then Duza can send another monster to your graveyard, or another Karma to the graveyard, which is going to get you a search, which can search your Crimson Nova, special summon the Crimson Nova to your side of the field, and then ditch your Duza with the Monster Gate, and then start dipping into the deck really deep to be able to draw out another Duza and mill a bunch of cards that are going to give you more benefit. Because a lot of the spells and traps, like, it's really weird because this deck, like, benefits off of the spells and the traps being in the graveyard. And so it's one of those, this is weird kind of decks, because all the spells and traps have effects when they're in the graveyard, which is really good. So let's go ahead and do an actual play out test hand and see what we can pull off. And this deck doesn't play any hand traps. Like, it doesn't need the hand traps. It doesn't need the hand traps. It doesn't need Call by the Grave. It doesn't need any of that, which I know you guys are probably shocked because they put Call by the Grave in everything, but this deck doesn't need it. It just does not need it. So let's go ahead and draw. So we're actually going to draw into Unification, which is actually the Trap Fusion. Durama, which is not bad, which is really not bad. Monster Gate, Duza, and a copy of Karma. Okay. This is not terrible at all. So I'm going to go ahead and normal summon out my Duza first. So the Duza is going to trigger and is going to send from deck to graveyard a copy of the Karma, which Karma is then going to get banished, and I'm going to immediately... You can dig deeper if you want, but you don't have to. Just add the copy of your Crimson Nova from deck to hand. Reveal from your hand these three, and immediately summon your copy of Crimson Nova. Now, if you want to make it so you don't hit a Duza, or not a Duza, but a Vjom in your deck, activate your copy of Karma and target the Crimson Nova. The Crimson Nova's effect, or the copy of Karma, is going to let you target a cubic monster in your side of the field, and then send Vjoms from your deck to the graveyard, which is these, from your deck to your graveyard. And then once you do, that monster gains attack equal to the amount of Vjoms you sent times 800. So it's going to go up by 2,400, going up to 5,400, and it can attack twice. And at the end phase, you and your opponent both take 3k. So it's kind of like one of those, oh my god, kind of effects. Then you can use the effect of your Durama. Durama is going to activate, and you're going to send from your deck to the graveyard, or from your hand to the graveyard, your copy of Unification, and then you're going to get to draw a card, which is our Double or Nothing. Double or Nothing is kind of helpful because you can go into Utopia Double and swing at your opponent for big damage. And then we're going to activate our copy of Monster Gate, tributing our copy of Duza, which is going to then trigger our effect of the Unification. Unification is going to chain because this went to the graveyard, and you're going to banish it and special summon out a copy of Duza from the deck, which then the Duza is going to trigger before this resolves, and the Duza is going to send another copy of something to the graveyard, which is going to be a copy of Karma, which is going to get us a search off as well, which is going to be really, really cool to be able to get another copy of a cubic monster from our deck to our hand. So we're going to go ahead and shovel up this deck and then start revealing monsters until we hit a monster. So let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to go ahead and flip and draw right into a Duza. And that's not great because you want to send other stuff to the graveyard. But we're going to hit that Duza. Duza's going to send another card from our deck to the graveyard, which could be anything. And then let's send a copy of Cataclysm. When it's banished, you get to target one cubic monster you control, and each turn it destroys a monster by battle with a cubic counter, which we don't have any cubic counters. Ascension is going to let us special summon, banish this card from your graveyard, special summon Vjom from your hand, deck, or graveyard. I'd send Unification. I'd send Unification and get set up for a minute. At this point, you can link summon if you want to link summon, which I probably would. Go ahead and either link summon these two together, which is going to trigger the Unification as well, but I don't think we have a target in deck. You can overlay as well, which I'd probably just go ahead and overlay. Use these two monsters and overlay, which is going to not double the attack, because you can't use the effect of your number 60 on this because it has too much attack points. You can either summon this, or you can summon Utopia Double and swing for 10,000 and then swing for 5,000 each swing, which is going to put like 20-something thousand damage on board, which is probably the way I'd probably go. I'd probably just overlay for Utopia Double, swing for 5,000, and then drop this, and then swing again for negate the attack, swing again, and then go in with the Crimson Nova for the rest of the damage. So that's probably how I would do it. You also had a search in here, I believe, with the Karma, which you could have sent the Karma before you attacked and done this, which I'll show you guys really quickly how to do even more damage on board, where you can actually do 10,000 damage from just this. Let me show you guys that really quick. So we have the Karma still here, and we have the Durama here. The copy of this is going to go, and then you're just going to search another card. You can't search the wave because it's not a monster, so we're going to search out our copy of Crimson Nova. You can't search that. I thought you could search that, and I forgot that it's only monsters. So you can search out the copy of Crimson Nova, and then swing for the 10,000 and go for your opponent. So that's going to be our first test hand. As you can see, the deck is a highly potent OTK deck that you're going to go in for. And I will mention you guys something that I thought was interesting. I just got done watching an anime called Parasite, and I noticed that Vjom actually looks like Iggy from the Parasites, or Migi from the Parasites, which is really, really cool. I like that they actually, I don't know if they did that on purpose. I don't know which one came out first. I think the movie came out second. I think Parasite came out first, but this looks just like Migi to me, like the eyes do, which is kind of weird to me. So let's go ahead and shuffle up this deck and go ahead into our next test hand and see what we can actually pull off for the next test hand. Get those Vjoms shuffled deep into that deck, because you don't want to draw multiple Vjoms. I actually don't want to draw any Vjoms because I like them where they are in the deck. So let's go ahead and cut this deck really quick and see what we can get. Hopefully we draw into a good monster. So we're going to draw into Buster Gunneal. That's a good monster. Foolish Burial, Summoner Monk, Durama, and a copy of Monster Gate. So it's fine because we got the Monster Gate. So go ahead and send that copy of Foolish Burial to the graveyard and immediately summon out your copy of Duza by banishing this. I'm going to show you how you can get your Duza right out. Banish this, send it to graveyard, and then banish it. And then immediately grab from your deck to your hand your copy of Duza. Normal summon out that copy of Duza. And once you normal summon out the Duza, it's going to send another card from your deck to the graveyard, which is going to be Unification. Unification is going to trigger when Duza leaves the field, which is going to be really, really, really cool. Just when it leaves the field, when it's destroyed by battle or leaves the field, it just triggers and you banish it and then special summon another monster. So you can do something like this. And immediately normal summon out that Summoner Monk if you want to. And then you can also, if you're not going to discard a cubic card or send a cubic card from your deck to your hand, draw something, which you could go ahead and do that if you want to. But I kind of want to trigger the Summoner Monk's effect in a minute. I probably would go ahead and just discard this and summon another Duza just to dig through the deck a little bit more so I don't hit a Duza off of the copy of the Monster Gate. And then the Duza's effect, the second Duza's effect is going to trigger and going to let me banish a cubic Karma. Now I want to discard that Karma or banish that Karma to add my Crimson Nova to my hand because I don't want to hit all my Crimson Novas by accident because that could happen and has happened to me playing this deck and it sucked. So I want to go ahead and secure that Crimson Nova in my hand, which is going to be pretty pivotal to the strategy. But if I don't get into some more cubic cards, it's not going to matter anyways. But I do have the copy of the Durama to get another cubic card from my deck to the graveyard, so I just need to get one more. So let's go ahead and use the copy of Monster Gate and go ahead and tribute this monster, which is going to immediately trigger the Unification. Unification is going to be Chainlink 2. This is going to be Chainlink 1. Because you tribute for cost, and then you're immediately going to special summon from your deck a copy of Duza, which is going to be really cool. So we summon the Duza sends the Karma, and then the Karma can trigger in a minute. So now we only have 5 monsters in the entire deck that we can actually hit off of our copy of the Monster Gate. I believe you can hit Nibiru as well, but I mean, whatever. So that makes it 7. So we're going to go ahead and shuffle up the deck. We've already got a lot of resources, so it's not that big of a deal. So we're going to go ahead and reveal and start revealing when we hit a V-Jom right off the bat. Whatever. So the V-Jom is hit, and we're going to go ahead and banish from our graveyard the copy of Cubic Karma. I always have bad luck with Monster Gate, it seems. We're going to go ahead and banish that Cubic Karma from our graveyard and immediately add from our deck to our hand a Cubic Monster, which could be anything. You could add the copy of... I would probably add another Crimson... I wouldn't add Crimson Nova because you're going to not be able to trigger its effect to reveal itself. I don't think you can reveal 3 other cubic cards in your hand. Yeah, you can add Crimson Nova. Add the Crimson Nova because you can reveal 1 Crimson Nova to special summon another one, which is fine. And then you can activate the effect of your Durama in your graveyard. Banish this card, target a cubic monster in your graveyard, and add it back to your hand. Which, guess what? We have 1, and you've got your 3 cubics in your hand. So reveal this, and special summon this one to your side of the field, and now we have all these monsters on the field, and guess what? We have a really lovely field that we can go into. So if your opponent's giving you any trouble on your side of the field, you can just do this and link this away for 1. Now I will mention to you guys, I did make a small change to the deck. I did dump in an access code talker over the number 101, so that's the only change to this deck is the access code talker for number 101 for the extra deck. Actually, excuse me, I changed out the main deck, so definitely check out the deck profile down there. Excuse me. That's the only thing in the extra deck that I've changed from the previous deck profile. A lot of the stuff is the same in the extra deck, though. So if your opponent has a monster that this card points to, right here, you can gobble it up if they have it here or here with the Relinquished Anima. If they don't, just go for Link Rebo because you want it in the graveyard. Link these 2 away, and then go for a copy of any other Link monster that you want, either the Phoenix or the copy of Cerberus. It doesn't matter which one you go for. Either if you want to pop a spell or a trap, or if you want to pop a monster, it doesn't super matter. You're going to pretty much go for both. So you're immediately going to use that effect and discard the Buster Gunneal, pop a spell or trap, and then link these 2 away because they're different names. Go for the copy of Cerberus, or actually, excuse me, don't go for the Cerberus. Go for the copy of the Nightmare Unicorn off of these 2, and then link these 2 together again. And if you have a copy of your Unification in the graveyard, don't forget to use it. And then now you can go for Access Code Talker because you have the copies of these two in the graveyard, and you can target this in the graveyard to make it go up to 5,300, and then you can banish once and twice, pop 2 on the field, and then swing twice for 3k, swing once for 3,000 or for 5,300, which is going to get you again a bunch of damage on board. So again, the deck is super consistent. Like, it's really, really consistent. When you first look at the deck, it looks like, that doesn't play a lot of monsters. It doesn't look crazy good, but it's good. Trust me. If you haven't played Cubics, you need to play Cubics. It's that good. So let's go ahead and do one more test hand for you guys. Again, if you want to see the updated deck profile, it is in the description below. What I was meaning to say earlier is the only thing in the extra deck that I've changed from the previous deck profile, if you haven't seen it, is the entire extra deck is the exact same except for the access code talker, which I put in here after Eternity Code dropped for the number 101, because I didn't feel like the 101 was actually as needed as it was. So let's go ahead and change up the deck a little bit and shuffle it up and see what we can actually draw out. I really would love to do some live duels with this deck, because this deck is super fun to play around with. Let's see what we can get for this next one. So, for the next test hand, we're going to draw into a Duza right off the bat, V-Jom, Unification, Ascension, and a copy of Casualty. This is not terrible because you have the copy of Duza in the hand, and you can immediately go for your Crimson Nova. I mean, every hand we've had, we've gone for Crimson Nova. So we're going to go for Duza right off the bat, search the Crimson Nova off the copy of Karma, send the Karma, banish it, summon or search the copy of Duza, and then you're going to reveal 3 and then special summon the Crimson Nova from your hand. Now, the only problem with this hand is that you have a little bit of a problem because, yes, you have these 2 in your hand. When an opponent's monster clears an attack, you can special summon a V-Jom from your deck, and if you do, you change the attack target to it, which is going to give you a little bit of protection for the Duza. And then you can distribute cubic karmas to monsters your opponent controls with this, so you've got a little bit of defense with these 2, which is kind of nice. So you attack your opponent twice with this, and if you reduce their life points to below 3,000, you're fine. You go into your next turn, you draw into another Unification. You can reveal this, and if your opponent attacks you, special summon the V-Jom from the deck, which, let's say, before we draw into the Unification, that our opponent does choose to attack us, not knowing that we had that set, and we special summon a V-Jom from the deck, which you're just going to immediately go, bam, V-Jom, okay? V-Jom on the field, and then switch the attack target to this, and they get a cubic karma. Now, you can also do this, and then flip the copy of Casualty, and Casualty is going to give your opponent cubic counters up to the number of face-up cubic monsters you control, which makes it so they can't attack and their effects are negated. This card really helps out a lot, which I actually bumped up to 2. And I play this card at 2 now because it's so good to be able to distribute those cubic counters to negate so they can't attack and make it so that they can't activate their effects. This card really disrupts your opponent. I thought about playing it at 3, but at 2 it seems just fine because I don't want to break with it. So now I'm going to go into my turn. I'm going to draw Foolish Burial Goods. That's great. Drop the Foolish Burial Goods. Draw into the copy again. We're going to drop the Karma. Karma Banish. Add the Duza. Duza Summon. Or excuse me. Yeah. Duza Summon, Duza Effect. I was getting ahead of myself. I was like, wait a minute, I just banished Karma. Why am I sending another Karma? But you do this way. Now this time I'd send Unification to the graveyard, and I don't think I've burned through all my No, I have not burned through all my Duzas. So now you can actually overlay or link these 2 together and go like this. I would probably link them together. Now they do have the same name, so that's something you got to keep in mind. So keeping that V-Jom on the field is kind of nice because you can link away one of your V-Joms in this. Special summon out one of your monsters, like a copy of the, or you could do even like this if you wanted to go even better. Link this away, special summon out the Relinquished, gobble up an opponent's monster either here or here if they have anything left after you've Crimson Nova'd them. If you haven't, then you just go for the copy of Linkuriboh. Linkuriboh this away. Once you Linkuriboh that away, you can link away the Linkuriboh in this, like this right here, and then link directly into your Nightmare Phoenix. But since you did leave the field while you had Unification in the graveyard, the Unification can trigger and special summon out another Duza from the deck, which is going to trigger its effect as well to send another cubic monster from your deck to the graveyard, or another cubic card from your deck to the graveyard, which I have one more Karma, banish the Karma, and then search a Crimson Nova, which is going to be maybe potentially a second Crimson Nova that we're going to get off, which is going to be super helpful if I can get one more cubic card in my hand. If I don't, that's totally fine. I thought I had Durama in the graveyard, but I didn't. That was the last test hand. Now, at this point, you can overlay these 2 if you want to and go for a Utopia double, or you can go for Access Code Talker again. But since we already did that once, let's go ahead and do it this way a little bit differently this time and show you guys how that works. So we're going to go ahead and overlay into Utopia double like this. and then immediately detach a material from this card, and then special summon out your copy of Utopia on top of it and add the double or nothing from your deck to your hand, which is going to be super helpful to be able to search that card, just to grab it directly out of the deck and then attack your opponent for so much damage. Because they're already, this is like already 6,000, 16,000, 17,900 damage that they're taking, and then you swing at your opponent, drop the double or nothing, detach material, negate the attack, drop the double or nothing, and swing at your opponent for 10k, and then this, and then this, and then this. I mean, it's game. I mean, that's all they can do. It's game. So, and then if you draw into next turn, you're going to draw into a Summoner Monk, which is not going to get you much more advantage because you don't have any other plays to go off from there. So that's it for the test hands, guys. That is a super fun deck to play around with and is insane. I hope I did the Viper or our Saber the justice. I really am excited for that. I hope he enjoys this one for, you know, his cubics. He probably has some more insane combos than me because I've seen him build cubic Eldritch in other decks. It's really fun to watch him build these cubic variants, but he really likes this deck, so I wanted to do some standard cubic test hands for you guys to show you guys what this deck is actually capable of. And it's just super fun. It's just a super fun budget deck that if you guys want to build, it's fun. But anyways, guys, this is DarkArmedDuelist. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Definitely tell me what you think of this deck down in the comments down below. It's a super fun deck to play around with, like I said before. And definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below as well. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Hit the bell. See you later, guys.